Alrighty. I have been having a bit of a clean out lately. I was running the generator the other day and I got the vacuum cleaner and went right through the house. I have got to, and you can't see it much even with the damn light on, but cleaned up a lot of the floor in here. There was a mishap which caused a few boxes to come open and whatnot, so I've sort of sorted through a lot of the stuff that hit the ground and whatnot. Some were pegs, and I was standing on a lot of these pegs, and some of these pegs are plastic pegs and they were fucked, so just gone brittle. So I sorted out a lot of that sort of gear. I had my father make up a bracket. Gee, this light's crap. That's supposed to sort of be mounted on the ceiling and get this the sewing table here so you can fold it up to the ceiling. Thing is though, ever since I put this table in, I've never even needed to fold it up, so I might be handing that bracket back to him and just leaving this table permanently open. And in that it means that some of the stuff that I've got on this side of the room, you know, a few boxes of different bits and pieces, might be going underneath the table and then give me a free room aside from the ladders and the spare doors there. I've also, you probably see it, there's fabric rolls standing up over there. There's a couple almost hiding behind the doors that you can't see, but yeah, I sort of trying to sort of arrange things so I can deal with all this fabric without a problem. I've also got another little gap in between the evaporative cooler and the cupboard that just sits there, and there's nothing ever in it. And it probably needs a bit of a mop. I've got this bloody, where is it? One of those sponge mop things that I had. Don't like to admit it, but I had a little little fire incident and had to use the fire extinguisher, and by hell it worked, but that frickin' powder was on everything until I mopped all the floor completely and wiped everything down and wiped the table down and vacuumed everything. Man, that powder gets everywhere. So I got that squeegee mop thing, the sponge mop, whatever you want to call it. It's just like a giant sponge on the end of a stick, and you pull the little lever and it squeezes the two sides. I got that for that, and I probably should mop in this corner here and in the process, you know, clean up that corner. I vacuumed it before, but that'll give me a spot to maybe store a bit more fabric or hide something else. You know, I've got this bin that I have me potatoes in, and I could stick that there to try and clear the room a bit more. Whatever, you know, it'll give me extra space to stash extra stuff, and there's quite a likelihood that I might stash a bit of fabric there or whatever. Whatever, it's just a space that nothing ever goes in because it's in the way of the fan that the evaporative cooler that doesn't really work as an evaporative cooler. But I use it as a fan just to suck in the, the cooler spring nights where you've had a warmish day into spring, start of summer, but you have a cool night, and when it cools down, I use that fan to suck the cool air in the room and, you know, blow all the warm air out through the vent that's right up next to the ceiling. So yeah, but there's just been that little pocket there, and nothing ever gets stuck in there. Sort of coming that time that, you know, there's some things I just got to use or frickin' chuck out, and I've been chucking out a lot of shit. And I've also, it looks messy, but I've had to go at this area too. I mean, the shit was out to here, but certain thing is another box I've got to get into in the back there and clear stuff out. But, you know, I got rid of certain things that I didn't need that were here, that have been here for donkey's ages, and I may well, you know, get the remains of this here, chuck out some, and jam the rest underneath the damn table. And maybe not directly under the table, maybe this side of the table, jam stuff, and I want to get my evaporative cooler here and shove that under the table. And maybe, possibly, when spring and summer comes next time around, I might mount that, you know, in the same place that, you know, evaporative cooler is mounted now, the one that's, you know, just sucks air in, because this does actually work as an evaporative cooler. Whereas the Chinese one you paid $100 for doesn't do shit, really doesn't. And it's to do with the size of the cooling pad. You know, you get a little cooling pad that's friggin' 8 inches by 6 inches versus that entire box is just cooling pads. It's actually fabric cooling pads. As you can see, there's a few layers of them in there. And yeah, that works shockingly well. And, you know, even has the bloody plug and everything. And a switch to turn it on and off. And a pump for the sprayers and the whole 9 yards. So that might actually be getting installed for real next summer. But just to keep it out of the way, I'll probably shove it in there. And what I often do, I get my wheelbarrow, which is out near the water tank, and I'll sit it there and I'll fill it up with firewood, and I'll literally just jump her up the step here and, you know, leave it parked here, so we're basically underneath the roof, and then my firewood doesn't get wet, or get any wetter than it was to begin with. But I like to have a lot of this space free for, you know, my firewood drums and whatnot. And yeah, but it doesn't end there. You can probably see our shitbox. I've got a door. That's actually a fire door that I got from work, sitting against the car there. But that car's got to go basically. And yeah, the long and short of it is that there's also a white ute light truck. Some of you may remember the Chinese Boss parodies, and that was sort of featured in it. And that's a friggin' ripper. I'll take you out to see it, actually, bugger it, instead of just standing here and talking about it. But what else I've been doing, and I'm in the process of right now, is cleaning up all the scrap metal. Now this is all full of all little bits of wire that I've been picking up over the last friggin' 7 years or whatever, because within another 2 months I'm going to have lived here 7 years. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Lived here 7 years in 2 months' time. You know, it was the middle of 2011, yeah, the very middle day of 2011, bang, I moved in. And 7 years in this joint, I can't fucking believe it myself. But yeah, of course, I picked up a lot of wire and bullshit, and there's also all these bits of, you know, corrugated iron that are sort of all covered in dirt and sort of, you know, going fairly rusty and shit, because, well, they've basically been underneath the soil through here. And surprise, surprise, there are some bits that are all right, like that. Pipe, still galvanised. They've obviously hammered down one end trying to use it, probably as a bloody fence post. I pulled this out only a couple of weeks ago, and that is like serious heavy duty pipe. So there's odds and sods that are actually going to get kept. Things that are antiques, like a cast iron water pump, and maybe an old flywheel and whatnot, and things that are weldable, that are still all right, and aluminium trims and whatever, are probably going to be kept, and well, the rest of it is already getting loaded up to go to scrap metal. So basically, long story short, my father's got a bit of stuff as well, and he's going to throw it in on the top, and he should be able to get most of his stuff in on the top of this, I think, because it's a fairly tall enough cage. But yeah, we're going to get rid of that within the next week, and oh, thank God, we'll be rid of most of this scrap metal, aside from 2 vehicles, which is, I'm going to end up bringing my old car over here too and parking it in a while. We ain't getting rid of all the old vehicles, but I got permission to finally get rid of this damn thing, which has been here for, oh shit, probably 15 years or something. And that's a stupid ass friggin' white ute / light truck. And this is the one where it's actually rusted right through the roof. You might be able to hear a little bit of wind noise. Bit of a breeze out here, not too bad. There's the old shitbox here. Got these blooming pigeons that are hiding in my bonfire stack. Every time I come over here, they fly out. Tree guards that I should be taking out of there, but you know, the structural integrity is the sort of stuff that is just bloody believable. Quite a long time ago I developed this one here in the top. Now, yeah, I'll be surprised if he doesn't pick it up and the windscreen doesn't collapse completely. I don't know where the hood went for this thing. I probably got rid of it already, but what happened is the old hood latch wasn't going to hold on, and needless to say, the hood mounts are just torn straight out of the friggin' body, and she went whoosh in the wind and come back and cracked all the windscreen. But the way it is there, the windscreen's supported by bloody nothing, so it'll probably shatter when he lifts it up. Diesel engine. This had a tarp over it until recently. Let's see if that little sprayer works on that one, the little washers. But most of this, you know, like stuff it like, I don't know, the wipers would work. I might go and grab a couple of little electric motors, but yeah, she's a diesel. That's well, I have seen this thing running, but it was like 18 years ago. So yeah, the old man was going to take it out and do this and that, and then he said, stuff it, I'm never going to get these projects, so you can get rid of it. So good, get rid of the old bitch, finally, frickin' hell. I tell you what, I was tempted to get rid of it without his permission several times there. And it's a real class vehicle. Look at the frickin', look, you see the damn tyre right through the bloody bed of the thing. It's just frickin' rotted right through. This is not the sort of one you want to stand in, because you'll probably go right through it. And yeah, but anyway, there's my big firewood stash. Oh, we're supposed to have to pull this out, but it's not going to happen with this in front of it, so we'll have to tow it backwards. Oh, you have to pump the tyres up, don't worry about that shit. They just friggin' run them flat, who gives a rat's ass. Firewood stash. That's me bigger logs. And there's me smaller logs. And I got another 2 more stashes that are out there. And I got a little bit of a stash of cut there the other day. And yeah, anyways. Geez, this isn't looking too healthy on it. This is my little firefighting thingamajigger. It isn't supposed to be sitting on a rock. I used this when I was burning all the boxthorn. It's a bit of a fire safety duver. It's old school, you pump the handle, but this is a Chinese one that's half the price of everyone else's and half the quality. So anyway, that's, yeah, about it, I think. At a later point, he's got a bunch of electric motors which come from, well, most of them come from here, to be honest. Some of them are huge, big 3-phase. I've got a couple of exhaust fans too that are sitting in the old shitbox here. That's right, a couple of lights there. And exhaust fan, there's another one that's fell over down past the door there. And long and short of it is we're going to have a roundup of all these. He's got most of the 3-phase engines round up, and I've got a handful of little ones like blenders and bullshit like that, and other little electrical appliances I got a pile of small ones, so they give you a separate rate because of the amount of copper in these motors. So we're going to do another run, probably quite a long time off now, and get rid of all the electric motors because you get a fair bit of coin for it. But the honest truth is that when push comes to shove, mine's probably going to be about 1/12 the weight of his 11/12. You know, like some of the motors, he's got a frickin' enormous. And, you know, there's one over here that hasn't been moved, and I'd say this one's going to be moved, but we just sort of never got to it. This is the sort of motors he's got. I'll show you. This is probably, look, yeah, there's a few that are probably almost this size. That's right. Well, she's pretty exposed. This one's made in the 50s. That's a switch, just the bloody switch for it here. Here's some of the cable. The cable comes in, bang, bang. That's all your eddy plates. Stacks of little plates all jammed together as one. This might even have a step-down gearbox, actually. But this is one of the ones that's got to go. There's a few others about that size. And, yeah, that's sort of, that'll be the next episode of stuff. Look at this heap of shit. I might try and get rid of the friggin' mudguards on this, actually, while I'm thinking of these things, because I say the mudguards are about beyond it. This is actually an old trailer my grandfather used to drive around with, but, and as you can see, I've got most of the wood slats off it and that. Should chuck these in a bonfire too while I'm thinking of that. So full of nails you can never use them anyway. They're half rotted. So anyway, that's the clean-up that's progressing. I've got rid of pretty much all the old roof sheets that are around the place. I used to have one stored around here. You know, finished building that thing and kept hanging on to all these old roof sheets. So most of them are gone. A lot of the stuff off the front lawn is also gone. I'll show you what's on the front lawn. There's the mint. Mint's still firing fairly well quite late in the season. Some of it I left grow full height and the rest of it I trimmed down, and it's still firing quite well. I've got a lot of mint still to process, and now I've started picking the lemon verbena as well. So we're processing that. I had some of the lemon verbena I picked from the previous year, and it's just shit. It's like all stale. I don't know. It's just something wrong with it. It's not really very well flavoured. So I should probably go and test some of these older lemon verbenas sometime during winter and just see if they're any good. And if they're not, just chuck them out and be done with it. But yeah, I'm going to give that to my father. He wants the steel in it because it's got some fairly good rod and a bit of angle line in it. It's the old table. Probably going to get rid of this out the back somewhere. And that's the what's his name? Rabbit trap. I actually put Kitty in that to give her a shower because it's the only way I don't get scratched to death. And she had a little shower about a week or two back, and I'm not going to video her having a shower because I might get called mean as she's going when I bloom it. Give her a shower. She is not a cat that likes water at all. Sometimes when I'm in the shower, she'll walk in and look up at me as I'm having a shower. So I just sort of go, flick a bit of water at it, and she's like, shakes herself and walks out. She can't work out what I'm doing standing there in the shower, though, you know. Same if I go to the toilet, she's hanging around. Meow, meow, meow. What are you doing in that room? Cats is funny. Anyway, I think that pretty much winds it up, so yeah.